And we're back, guys. I'm your host, Good Energy. I give you the rundown on tennis coverage every day. The hardest working man in the tennis business. Show some love, like the video, hit the super thanks. Matter of fact, if you're listening to this right now, do me a favor. Go back and like all 6,000 of my videos, guys. Show some love. It's all about the good energy. 7 for 7 in free picks yesterday. We're going to give you more free picks. That's what we do here, guys. But remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. And whatever you do is your decision and only yours. Katie Boulter versus Magdalena Frech. Listen, guys, the head-to-head's 1-1. They both beat each other in the past, but the most recent meeting, I want to say it was on the Asian part of the tour, and Katie Boulter won that. Now, Katie Boulter is the reigning and defending champion here. And look, couple different styles here, right? Two contrasting styles. We have Magdalena Frech, she's a hustler. She gets balls back. She's got a good forehand. Now, just listening to the announcer talk about how her drop shot's horrible, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And I posted a video of her drop shot, and I'm like, this announcer doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, I've watched enough Magdalena's matches to know her game pretty well, and as well as Katie Boulter's. Now, Katie Boulter and Magdalena, it's been a long journey from the lower level. They're finally here, and I think they're here to stay. And it's just shows that, look, hard work and dedication, hard work works. Just continue to work and work. Ignore what the haters say. At the end of the day, they are not the ones that's putting in the work. They're the ones that's criticizing, and successful people don't criticize. Unless you're a news outlet and you're actually doing it to make people aware, just hating on people, it's not good, right? So in terms of Magdalena, she can get balls back. I do think her drop shot's pretty good. I've shown clips of her drop shot just to let that announcer know that he's wrong. But look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. There's a difference from having an opinion and speaking what you believe is true to just hating on someone and ignoring their results and their stats. If someone's like really good and they have the titles and the trophies and the ranking and they're winning the matches to show, and you just criticize based on their results, then that's just hating, right? But if you are just giving your opinion that possibly Magdalena doesn't have a good drop shot, then okay, that's your opinion. But I've showed you clips that she does have the short ball. And if she's going to win this match against Katie Boulter, she's going to have to get Katie Boulter off of that baseline, and she's going to have to go to that short ball. Because the reality here is Katie Boulter, she's towering over Magdalena. She's going to be hitting down these powerful forehands and backhands. And I think Magdalena's going to have a tough time returning these balls because of the trajectory. I think Katie Boulter's got a much more powerful serve. The only thing that Magdalena possibly struggles with is her power, her ability to back up opponents off of her. And this is a type of matchup where no matter how much ground Magdalena gains, unless it's a drop shot where Katie Boulter is completely disrupted, Katie Boulter is going to be able to take over these rallies at any time with her power and dictate the pace and the tempo. And that's going to be a problem. So therefore, I'd like Katie Boulter to win this match. And she's going to be one step closer to defending her championship. The Brit wins. Next, we have Kimberly Burell. Come on, WTA. Like, you've been doing good with the new images and the updated photos here. Although a lot of them look like they're AI generated. But Kimberly Burell deserves a photo here, guys. What are we doing here? No, Diane Perry, the French woman, bonjour, comment allez-vous, who, look, she's a very good clay player, but what about grass? This is going to be a good matchup. Now, Diane Perry's here. I talk about how I like her one-handed backhand slice, right? I like the way she can keep opponents off of her. I like the way she backs opponents off. I like the way she can buy time and go to top spin. But a couple things that I say that are they're just ongoing and they're true. I don't like her long, whining, robotic serve. I feel it puts her on the back foot against quick strike players that have power. Kimberly Burell, she's 19-14 on the season. She is 8-1 on grass, ladies and gentlemen. And I say it all the time, you never know when it all comes together for you. All it takes is one good quarter, one good tournament, one good season, it could change your career. And right now, Kimberly Burrell's on a 4-match win streak. She took out Stefani, she's a good shot maker. She had a good tournament here. Perry took out Buxa and Seville, two very good defensive players, two very good shot makers. She should beat Burell, but I'm going to take Burell to win a set because Diane Perry has these matches and these tournaments where she starts slow or she just wins a set, loses the second set. I think if Perry is going to win, she's going to have to do it in 3. So this match might go over. I'm going to take the older veteran. That's right, Kimberly Burell, who's 8-1 on grass this year. She's used to the surface. She's playing very well to exploit some of these weaknesses she could find with that slow serve of Perry. I do say Perry has a level of explosiveness she can go to where she just bursts ahead. And it's much like Anna Kalinskaya, where you get lured into this false sense of security that she's not fast and strong and athletic. And then she just bursts out on you and just styles on you. But I think Burrell's going to win a set. So that's the official pick. Kimberly Burell to win at least one set off of Diane Perry. Ons, the best shot maker in the world, guys. And if you watch tennis, you know why I say that. There's no one on tour that makes more circus shots than Ons. She's a show woman. She keeps the crowd entertained. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about watching a match to get your mind off of the world's horrible realities and just enjoy a good tennis match where these professionals, they're trained, they're highly skilled and talented to just amaze us. And she's taking on Linda Fruhvirtova. And if you're not familiar, I'm going to make you familiar. I say this all the time. If I were coaching any of this top tier talent, if the first thing I would do before we even touch a tennis ball, I need to make sure your stamina and your footwork is good. It doesn't matter how good of a shot maker you are. If your footwork, if you can't be and meet the ball where it's at, you'll never win a match. You'll never be a good tennis player. Your footwork has to be top notch. You need to be able to meet the ball where it's being delivered. If you cannot do that, you cannot play tennis. So footwork and stamina, those are the two things we're going to work on before you even touch a ball. Your conditioning has to be top shelf, top peak. Your stamina's got to be A plus. Your footwork has to be amazing. We're going to do all types of footwork drills. We're going to run every day, and it's all about footwork, okay? If you look at the best athletes, no matter what sport it is, their footwork is top notch, okay? They can literally be good dancers because of their footwork. They're fast, they're explosive, their reaction time. So that's the two things we work on before we even touch the ball, is your stamina and your footwork. If you can't pass those basic requirements, then I can't coach you. Once you pass those requirements, now we're going to work on is your shot making ability. That's right. We are going to have sessions where we keep the ball in play 30 minutes nonstop. Okay. If you want to be number one, these are the requirements for me to coach you. Because if you want to be the best, you have to train like the best. Okay. This is not, we have to take this seriously. And I feel a lot of players, especially, and this is why I say tennis is a young woman's sport. When these ladies get 28, 29, 30, they want to have families. You know, they're thinking about how they're going to position themselves up for retirement, how they're going to manage their money after tennis. And they're thinking about other things, which is why you take a look at some of these older players. Look, I don't want to call anyone out, but take a look at Sasnovich. What's going on there? You know, she had that good run a couple of years ago. She talked about how she worked so hard to get inside the top 100. Boom, now she's a supermodel. She's taking pictures of it. Look at Georgie. Georgie's at the point where she just retired flat out. Yes, she's having issues off the court, but she wants to be a supermodel. She wants to make money. Look at Danielle Collins. I'm telling you guys, she wants to have a baby. She's going to have a baby, and I guess she's been trying with her husband, but she wants to have a baby and watch. She's going to have a baby, and she'll be back in 2 years. I'm telling you, she'll be back for one last season. Watch. And just look, once you get 28, 29, the game changes. Not only does your athletic ability slow down, but women have other priorities. And this is why we have to thank all these amazing women. And this is why I say all the time, support female sports, because these women, they're risking giving up being a mother, being a parent Once you get older in your 20s, early 30s, their clock is done. You know, in terms of mothers having children, that's something a young mother is supposed to be doing, like in their 20s, you know? And of course, it's based on the female. It's all up to them. It's their choice, right? We're not putting an age on what you should do. But in terms of nature and the biological clock, they say that they should be having starting families probably and somewhere around in their 20s. But nonetheless, when we talk about coaches and this top tier talent, you have to be a good shot maker. And this is why I've said the top tens during Serena's and Venus tenure, and I've said this in the past, you take a look at the top 10. I think the top 10 now is starting to come around, get a little better, but 15 years ago, that top 10 in terms of fundamentals and skill, much better than this top 10, right? I mean, you have someone like, look at Iga, she's the world's number one. She's a good player, but I mean, outside of 5-shot rallies, I mean, come on, guys. You take a look at the top 10, 15, 20 years ago. We're talking about rallies of 20 shots all the time. You know, they were much better tennis players, you know, much higher IQ in terms of the game. And I think that's what most sports, take a look at basketball, right? Like 10, 15 years ago, probably maybe 20 years ago. The IQ that those players had, insane. Whereas now we've seen a change with sports, where a lot of sports now, it's really about the athletic ability. You know, it's like whatever they're doing in the food and the hormones, we're seeing, and look, a lot of it's what's going on off the court as well. You know, there's the technology now is just making these athletes more athletic than they've ever been. And a lot of it's evolution, right? You take a look at the first men to run a 4-minute mile, you know, what, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, right? It wasn't hardly, at least documented, right? It wasn't really that publicly documented. Since then, everyone's running a 4-minute mile. So a lot of it's evolution. But in terms of shot making ability, these are two of the better shot makers on tour. We all know Ons is amazing, but a lot of people don't realize how good of a shot maker Linda Fruhvirtova is. I've seen Linda hit backhands, forehands behind the baseline, threading through a foot of cones, right? So you have a foot you have two cones separated by, let's say, a foot. She's hitting shots 3 feet, a meter behind the baseline through these cones consistently. She's an amazing shot maker. And this is why, with a lot of her matches, she wins sets and she wins service games. She gets around the 9th, 10th service game. And if someone's just better or more experienced than her, they'll eventually pull through and problem solve. But when it comes to making shots, Linda Fruhvirtova is a amazing shot maker, and I've been saying this for a very long time. She's very, very skilled and talented. I would like to see her work on her conditioning and stamina a little bit. I think for her age, she should probably be a little bit slimmer. I would like to see her put a little bit more muscle on, work on a little bit more power on the serve. These are the things that are going to keep opponents off of her, right? Just a little bit more power on the forehand. She's young enough to be able to build more muscle and strengthen the forehand. But in terms of shot making ability, two amazing ladies. However, I think Ons is just too good, too superior. Ons might let her hang around for a little bit, for a few service games, but Ons should pull away and win this match. Just too good on grass. So those are the picks, guys. Enjoy. I'm your host, Good Energy. Tennis in a Minute. Thanks for listening. Like the video, hit the super thanks, and do me a favor. If you're listening to this, go back and like all 6,000 of my videos. I appreciate it. We'll be back.